For those of you who are here early, we have a little bit of a treat. Dixie, I'm going to highlight or spotlight you, Dixie, is going to show us, it will tell us the origin of this. This is fun.
Yeah, about in 1988, I had the excitement of going to the North Pole to track polar bears. And since you had them in your presentation last week, I happened to get cluster of a polar bear track while I was there. So I wanted to show it to everybody. And I don't know, do you want to see a black bear first just to see the comparison?
Yeah, hold them both up would be great.
This is the black bear. And this is the hindfoot of the black bear. And this is a plaster cast that was poured, into the track. And you can see some claws kind of up here. And the bear, their little toe is on the inside of their foot. So this is actually a left hind foot. And then for comparison, I can't hold them both at once, but I'll show you the polar bear here. So this is a front foot, but you see the little pad down here, that's their distal pad, which they all have, but it rarely shows in the tracks.
Okay, that's kind of outrageous.
Yeah, this is just wild. And this is from a place called the Northern Study Center. I went tracking with Jim Halfpenny, who's a world-renowned.
Wow. Fantastic.
Yeah, it was just fantastic. I lived in the same area he lived in for a while, so I had the opportunity to go with him on some of his trips. And so this one, being the little toe here, is a left front foot. And the kids always ask me, what is this? And that's where the ice, it was on ice where we poured it. And that's where the plaster had slipped down a little bit in the ice.
Okay, nice. Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Amazing. That is quite a treasure. Seriously. Wow. Serious jealous there. Naturalist jealousy. Great. Well, welcome everyone. I'm Roseanne Hansen. This is part 2 of 8 of Around the World in 80 Animals. And this is North America part 2 because I broke North America up into 2 sections. And we're going to get started shortly, but a couple of housekeeping things. If you could turn off your videos, please, and everyone make sure your audios are off as well. Turning off your videos helps me with the bandwidth while I'm recording. And speaking of recording, of course, I always record and I'll put these up on my website either later today or tomorrow, and I'll email everyone when that's up and ready. So while I'm doing our Around the World, make sure if you have questions, just ask them verbally. I can't monitor the chat when I've got all these windows open. So I will be starting shortly. And remember, we are not doing scientific illustration here. This is learning to quick sketch and capture things in your journal. So as what we're doing is practicing being outdoors and sketching live, we hope eventually, which is really hard. And animals are particularly hard. They move. Everyone make sure your video and audio is off, please. I've got someone with their audio still on, so please do that. All right, we're going to get started. And just turning off a few videos. If you have your video on, please turn it off. And I'm going to launch my slideshow here. Let's see. And move a few windows here. You should be seeing my Around the World in 80 Animals starting page now. Yes. If you don't, just somebody say verbally, but I'm assuming if you can see it, you all will let me know. And
we've got it.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. So this is North America Part 2. I'm Roseanne Hansen. I've been teaching online for 4 years since COVID, but I've been keeping journals and field sketching for, gosh, going on 35 years now, and I've been keeping a little journal since I was 8 years old. So I've been doing this a long time, and I love sharing it and also helping us get over the fear and challenge of sketching. I'm not a trained artist. I just love doing this and sharing kind of tips that work for me. So we're all learning together. So where are we going first on our it's part 2 of North America? Can probably guess what this critter is. Beautiful animal, the California condor, which is critically endangered. In fact, it went extinct in the wild by 1987. Scientists removed the last ones and captive bred them and then reintroduced them. And by 2022, there are about 560 in the wild. Here's something really fun down here in the corner. If you can see this, this is the largest North American land bird, second only to the wandering albatross, which has a 12-foot wingspan. Here's a 6-foot human, 12-foot wingspan, and then I put the condor over here. You can see just how big these beautiful birds are. So about 26 pounds, which, you think, wow, that's not a lot, of course, for such a huge wingspan, because they have to be able to fly, and so they can't weigh a ton. And they live up to 60 years, which is really amazing. So let's choose what you can do. Oops, back up. What you can do is choose one of these aspects to draw. I'm in my journal here, I've already started kind of where I'm going to draw a map here later and indicate where the species more or less were. And this will be on the recording, so don't worry about getting it all down. So I'm going to start my sketch over here, and I'm going to do mine in pencil. I'm going to do this a little darker than I normally would. I would normally do it pretty light, but I want you to be able to see. So I'm going to turn off my person head there, so it's a little easier you got more surface area. I think I'm going to draw the soaring or landing, actually, condor. You might want to tackle the one there. They all have tags on them, so that's number 92, I think. Might be 192. We can't really see it all, but that's what you're seeing there. So when you're sketching, be sure to note, give yourself plenty of room. So those are my wingspans. And then remember to go with the big shapes first. So first, I'm just going to kind of get the swoop in there, because I want to make sure I give myself plenty of room. And then what are the shapes I'm seeing? I'm going to do kind of a triangle. I'm going to get this a little closer. There. And I'm going to see if I can change the exposure so you can see it a little more. There you go. And so we want to kind of get the shape of, you can't see it 100%, but there's kind of like this shape there, and then that's the bottom of the body, and then let's get that splay of the tail, and then we'll get the shape roughly of the wing. We're only going to take about 15 minutes per species here. And then I'm just going to mark, I'm not going to go into super detail here, but just to make sure I get those beautiful primary feathers laying out there as he's controlling his descent there. And then the other shape, we want to get his head. They have kind of pinheads, don't they? So we've got our little vulture head there and his bill there. So now we'll get those legs coming down. Remember, they have like kind of feathered pantaloons going on, and then his really long feet, legs. Oops, make that a little fat. Can correct that later. So now we've got, that's our vulture shape. Now they have here, let's get that leading edge here. And then the condors have light patches here. So this is whitish. And we're doing our suggestion of feathers because we don't have time to draw every feather. This isn't scientific illustration. We're capturing this. And what we also want to do, going to start coming in with the pen. And let's get, who is this guy? So this is our California condor. And write some of our nature notes.
We need to get back to the picture there.
Okay.
Blue
I
something.
can remember some of the, oh, here we go.
There you go.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So let's mark it's great to mark the wingspan here. Which is about 12, I think it said about 9.8 feet. So we'll just call it around 9 feet. And critically endangered is a really important fact here. $560 in the wild in Utah, California, and Arizona. Oops, I got some ink there. Let's I'm gonna do a little bit of coloring here. Is that enough of the picture for y'all? Let's do, I'm just gonna lay down some dark. Just to get our vulturiness going here. Vulture, of course, it's in the vulture family. Condor. I'm mixing my own black here from burnt sienna and indanthrone. And this way I can I'm just wanting to suggest my darks here. Whoa. Haha. I was trying to do that upside down and sort of didn't get it. Didn't get it in right. And don't forget to leave the head bare. And why do they have the bare heads? It's because they're carrion feeders, so they're getting their head into the body cavities of animals, carcasses, so it's easier for them to clean. And then we'll just do a little bit under here to help suggest feathers, like so. And make it kind of raggedy, so I'm going to use ink to finish these bits, I think. Yeah, so this is giving me a good start. Leave that a little ragged, and I can come in and finish with ink. By ragged, I mean I want to be able to have some white space. But I think that gives us a good start. And then I can, this will dry a bit as we move on. And I'll be able to even out the blacks. And then we'll get that kind of pinky salmon head there. Right there. And they have their legs appear white. I believe they're more yellow, but I think that's because of the urea on their feet. We'll double check that. I'm going to give it a tiny bit of the yellow. Just a little. And then we're going to move on to our next critter shortly.
What color is the eye, Roseanne?
They look really, really reddish, don't they? With a kind of orange skin around it. I would call it like amber. Really interesting bill and face. You know, that might be a fun thing to do. You could, if you have time, come back and do a study of just that bill and face would be really fun. I think that would make a fun study as it were. And I like to do that when I have more time. But I'll come in with ink and you know, and refine these feathers, add a little bit more black probably later, and get that going. But that's our first. I'm going to number these this time. This is number 1, because what I'm going to do is create a map over here and place the range of this animal on the map. But now we're moving on because we're going to try to stay on time this time. It's easy to get carried away. I just love getting into the detail here. But we're going to keep moving so that we get around the last of North America. And where are we going next? All right. One of the iconic animals, sorry, insect of our continent is the beautiful monarch butterfly, or just monarch. And there are several populations. There's a distinct east and western populations. They are the same. They're not subspecies, but they don't really interact. And this is their migratory route. The ones that do migrate, some of the western ones stay put, or they move within the region, but most do this mega migration to central Mexico. And it's specifically to the Oyamel fir forests, the Abies religiosa, where they hibernate for the winter in those massive groups in the trees. It's just spectacular. I haven't seen it in person, would love to someday. So the migration happens in the fall, and then there's multi-generational returns. So it's fascinating how they end up figuring out how to come back, because they don't necessarily have been there before. So really fascinating. They're also really widespread, although they're iconic to the American, the North America. They are also in Europe, the Mediterranean, and Oceania. So that's something I didn't know. And most of you probably know they do lay their eggs on milkweed species and the various formations of the caterpillar, the instars, develop on the milkweed. They feed on the milkweed. So really important relationship there. And this one is a female, which we're going to draw, and males have a black spot on the hind wing. So let's put our monarch down here. I think that will be a good spot for our monarch. And remember to go with shapes and give yourself plenty of space. So I'm going to mark my wingspan, as it were, and then with dots. And then I'm going to just sketch in a body shape as a marker, and then work on those wing shapes. It's kind of a flat arc. See, I didn't quite give myself enough room. Now we've got two wings here. You've got the forewing and the hind wing. So we want to get our shapes within that. I'm right now, I'm just making sure I've got myself enough space, and then I'm going to work on refining the shapes. Okay, there we go here. And it's okay if you have to go back over it with your pencil or change your choice of shape. That's why we're doing it. You can also go straight to pen, which I normally do, but for this demonstration, I'm finding that the pencil is making it easier to find my shapes, I call it. So I'm finding my wing shape there. And you can see the hind and the forewings. And then get the body in here. There's sort of two parts too. I want to get a little bit of shapes going there. And don't forget the antennae. I will do these black, and then I'll probably come in with a white pen and add the spots with the white pen. Now, don't really probably have time to go in and do complete detail on all the all these wings. So what I tend to do, and it's usually a good strategy too in the wild, is maybe do detail on one side and leave the other one unfinished, which is fine. So we're drawing shapes here. Of the famous monarch pattern. And then we'll leave, these are our colored dots and spots. I'll do this in black and then come back and add the white.
Can you say how you can tell the difference between a male and a female?
Yeah,
Please?
the males have a black spot right in here. So those are our so hopefully I'll be able to leave that nice and dark there. Oops, I forgot the other one. Okay, shapes. So concentrating on drawing the shapes here. And by drawing the shapes, you end up with those lines. It's tempting to kind of draw lines, but I find it's easier to focus on shapes and end up with the lines. So for example, this will be dark here. And if you have a, like one of those Posco markers or something like that, that will make this process so much easier than paint. I don't think I have that's not generally something I have in my kit, so I don't have a black marker. Even just a Sharpie or any kind of waterproof pen, because if you are going to add any watercolor for the pretty colors. Here we go. Lot more efficient than what I'm doing. And I can go in and I'll probably add some dark watercolor. In fact, I'll probably switch to that now. After, let's see, what do we do? How are we doing on time? It's we're short on time, of course. You can definitely do your rims here in that. I find that if you do the edges ever so slightly wavy, that helps. Just a tiny bit. And the upper body has kind of got this furry like, and then shiny head and eyes. Much easier. I'll come back and add the white with my gel pen. But we can definitely mark these in dark now. Let's see if we can get some of that beautiful monarch color. I've got the exposures quite dark here. There we go. Beautiful. And it's kind of variegated. It's not 100% orange. So you could enhance it by throwing in some yellow. I'm doing a lighter wash first so I can come back, show this a bit more true to color. You'll get brighter colors if you do them in layers. Oops, it's okay if you go out of the lines here because I'll be doing over it in dark, in the black. And these are yellow. And I'm going to paint a little bit of yellow over this and then come back with a magenta, very light, to pop that orange. And that I'm doing that on purpose. So I'll let that dry and come back. Oh, and we want to get our facts. Don't forget, we like to get our nature facts. So this is, let's see, where will I write here? This is monarch butterfly, or just monarch, I think. Let's bring that back. Number 2. And I do like to put the genus and species, which I will add for the condor too. And kind of the main, how you points here. So this is this is a large butterfly. So about 3.5 to 4 inches. And larvae feed on milkweed. And they fall migration to, it's kind of, you can call it South Central Mexico, the highlands.
Roseanne, could you scoot your notebook up a little, please?
Oh yeah, thank you.
Thanks.
And it's the Oyamel fir forest. So you can maybe sketch in lightly here the suggestion of the other wings and then color this one, or do the whole thing later. It's entirely up to you. And don't forget to come back and add the white spots. Those are really critical after this dries, and we are able to get a nice dark. So that is our, oh, and this is a female. So no black spot on hind wing. And I'm okay just kind of writing across here because I'm not going to fill that out.
Roseanne?
Yes.
This is Brenda here. I have a thought. I actually went to see them last month down at Natural Bridges in California. And you could do the other wing as the male.
Oh, that's a good idea. Now there's a great idea. Okay. Well, I think we're going to cruise on and see who's next on our little itinerary here. When I have to decide kind of where I'm going to put that, I'm going to put a new animal on this page, or am I going to plop over and start a new page? We'll see. Depends on the animal, doesn't it? So, okay, who do we have? And where are we going? Okay, we are heading toward the eastern part of the continent. Our beautiful, beautiful, famous ruby-throated hummingbird. Just love these little guys. And there's just so many amazing facts, especially about the ruby throat, which is incredibly famous for its long migration. But beautiful, beautiful details. What a gorgeous bird. So it is incredibly common, 35 million of them estimated in 2021. They're so tiny, only about 3.5 inches long and 0.2 ounces maximum. That's just amazing. So they winter in Central America, Mexico, Florida, which means that Eastern population, much of it flies across the Gulf of Mexico nonstop, 800 kilometers, which is pretty just astounding. And to do that, they practice what's called hyperphagia, which is putting on lots of fat reserves, and they eat nectar and also insects. So when you see them, it's called hawking when they're out flitting around. They're snapping insects, and they're also will get them. You'll see them foraging on trees and bark and stuff, going for little insects. So, what a fun species! So we'll I think I can put him in here without squishing it too much. I'm going to make probably put it in here. And what I'm going to do is, okay, this will be the height. And that
Could
way,
you make your reference picture a little bit bigger so
yes,
that the text is maybe not showing?
yes, I'll do that in just a second. I was just making sure where I was going to put this for sure, and put in a few lines there. I've decided I'm going to start on a new page, because I think what you do is, if you do it too small, you end up really short changing yourself, and you get, it's much more difficult to draw. And so we'll get our label. I tend to put the label after I do the drawing, because then I can make it kind of fit better rather than trying to squash it in around it if I put the label in the wrong place. So remember to go for shapes. We've got, I'm going to start really light here, but the big shape I want to get is the big shape is the little body. And I'm just doing that very lightly. And then don't forget the triangle at the bottom. Did we get the proportions? I think so. That looks good. The head's not that big. We'll refine it a little. And then let's get the triangle for the wing. Did I get that proportion? Am I happy with that? Yes, I can keep refining. Now I'm going to go in and grab the shape here. Refine. Okay, that's his. Let's get that throat and the bill coming out. Bill is just about a little bit longer than the width of the head. Important to get that right. So you come down, we've got its tummy. Don't forget to mark the little feet. And then we have the under, so you've got his little belly there. And then the tail's gathered up. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail on tail feathers. Right now, I'm just marking them up, and now we've got our, don't get too hung up on, remember, this isn't scientific illustration. I'm just capturing this little guy. Get that, I call it a shoulder-ish. Kind of 2 layers. And then just the suggestion of the feathers. You don't want to get bogged down in trying to draw every single feather here. Again, not scientific illustration. And then the eye placement's really important. You want to make sure we've got that right before we commit. There, and I think it's a pretty good capture. You can, use your pencil or your pen to suggest feathers, but this is, and then we'll use our color for the detail. And I almost dipped my pencil into the water. I see something here. I didn't quite get the head far enough back. I want to extend that. See, that's a little better. So good to keep comparing and getting your proportions right. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do, you guys might have red in your palette. I use a minimal palette. So I'm going to lay down a little yellow first, let it dry, and then pop the red by putting magenta. Just a tiny bit. And that'll help with kind of that iridescence you want to capture, believe it or not. Where a flat red, you might want to leave some white. If you're doing your own red, leave some white so you get that reflectivity. And let's just get a little wash of these pretty greens. And just a tiniest hint, I'm going to make that pretty watery because it's just a suggestion. And just like a hint of rufusy. Which I'm going to just throw in. I'm going to get this a little damp and then throw in a little burnt sienna. Just the tiniest suggestion. I forgot the green on the head. And the first pass will be the lighter green, and then I'm going to want to come in with a few shadows and things to make that pop a little darker. Because it's not one color green. Let's see what happens when I get in some magenta here. And see, I'm using my brush to make shapes. So that's approximating some of the feather shape and some iridescence. Let that dry, but I think we're getting some good color, and it looks more like a flashy throat. So you'll want a little bit of grays, very pale gray. Let's see, just to add some interest here. But leaving that pale. And then finally, see if I have time to mix the dark. It's very humid today, so having a different challenge with the watercolor. It's definitely challenging me today. I'm going to build up the darks as I go here. There, you see that came in nice and dark. I'm going to use my pen for the bill and to finish the eye, because I'm too chicken to do it without a super fine brush. And I'll want to come in and restore the white spot behind the eye. But I'm going to leave that for now. Oops, except I forgot. Let's throw a little color down on his tail, just a little bit. This actually has a little bit of green, and I can come back and okay. Let me add some details so we can get moving on. Let's see. 15. Okay. I can erase that bill. I didn't like that the way it went there, so I'll be coming back and erasing that. There we go. Okay, so this actually needs to be a tiny bit longer. All right, someone, if you make sure your audio's off, please. Someone's microphone is on. So this is ruby-throated. Okay, let's get our species info here. Ruby-throated. There's another hummingbird with a red throat called an Anna's, but that's west. People here in the West will see an Anna's and say, oh, I see a ruby throat, but the ruby throat does not come west. So
Annas don't migrate. They stick
that's
around.
right. Well, they move seasonally between Southern California and Arizona. It's not really a migration though. It's what they call a seasonal movement.
They come to my bird feeder daily in the
I
winter.
know they're such, and they're big. The Annas are big guys. Compared to say like the black-chinned, I call them bruisers. They're very similar in size to the ruby throat.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm in Sacramento and they're here year round.
Yeah, they're year-round in Arizona, but they kind of come and go in numbers. So they're only like 3 inches long on average, and they weigh 0.071 to 0.212 ounces. Oh my. And they might, the fall migration to across the Gulf of Mexico is incredible.
Rosanna, I'm at the
500 miles.
Animals in Sacramento year round, not the ruby-throated.
Oh yes, yeah, we were discussing the yeah, I
Yeah.
made that assumption that we were talking about Anna's, yes. Okay, well, that's good. We can, so this is our species number. Are we only on 3? Yep, already getting a little bit behind, but that's okay. I'm glad I didn't try to stuff that into here. I can add more species accounts, and maybe I'll do a close-up of the vulture face or something here, just so I'm not smushing things in, because I like the way our little hummingbird came out. But we have to move on. And where are we going now? Oh, we're heading farther up to one of the most fascinating creatures I've ever read about. Never seen one. This fabulous guy is a star-nosed mole. And indeed, that is his nose. This is a fascinating creature, semi-aquatic, functionally blind. He does have little eyes, but they really don't work. In the northeastern North America, they're insectivorous and carnivorous, and that 1 centimeter nose, which has 22 appendages, contains 25,000 sensory receptors called Eimer's organs. So it literally sees with its nose. It's also most famous to biologists who study these critters for being the fastest forager on the planet known, of ones that have been measured. It can identify and eat. It can identify its prey as prey in 8 milliseconds and devour it, including identifying it in 120 milliseconds. That's the maximum speed neurons can function, which, just think about that. That's amazing. Also, they exhale bubbles underwater and then inhale them again to sense, literally smell underwater. That's just, I just love this guy. So my new favorite animal. So I'm glad we had plenty of space here for our star-nosed mole. Is he so cute? Okay. Oh my gosh. Now, shape. We want to focus on that kind of just ovally roundy body, but then there's also here's the head. So body, head, okay. I'm good with that. Other shape is we've got significant, like his paws and claws there, and here's his foot here. And then we're going to bring the tail out here, which is like so. So keep it raggedy because he's furry. He's kind of like almost like a little beaver fur here, very dense. Coming in. And you've got there's the leave space for that. There's his foot there. We've got our, let's get that nose in. So here's the kind of tip there, and then their little appendages come out. Like so. And you can just barely see his little eyes like so. And then let's get those significant digging claws. Interesting little guy, isn't it? I just love him. I'm going to do a lot of kind of dots on this. Just doing kind of scritchies here because it's so, doesn't really have a distinct line, tiny, like little short fur. And it's a mostly naked tail.
It's quite delightful that it looks like the tail is pink underneath the fur.
I believe the skin is pink, yes, and we could actually put a little bit of that down for sure. Let's do that. Oops, and I went outside the line. That's and you can see on his the way you can see the skin right here as well on the toes, just barely. And we'll want to just do little, not super strong. And the appendages look like they're slightly pale on the tips. My ink got a little too aggressive there, so I would have been better off with a really light pencil, which I think would enhance it better. And the fur is not black, it's rich, russety brown. But it's very dark. So I'm going to mix. I'm going to mix a russet brown using blue, the three primaries, the cyan, magenta, and yellow. And I'm going to start with that russety brown, just in a really pale wash. And then I can come back and add some shadows and darks. And let that dry, and then we can come back and enhance it. Blob in his nose with a real dark. I think if I did it right now, it would possibly just bleed too much, but let me see what I've got. Yeah. Yeah, it's bleeding a little bit. That's okay. That's actually looking more like fur, which is kind of cool. I'm going to leave that for the moment, though. We can add just a suggestion of his little fur over the pink here.
You know, I just realized that I thought he was eating a flower, but that is his nose, isn't it?
That's his nose. Yes. Is that amazing? So it has 22 of those appendages, which are covered in 22,000 sensory receptors. It's amazing. So this is the number 4. This is this star-nosed mole. And they say, I forgot, I'm writing the genus and species. I forgot to write that on the hummingbird. I'll have to add cristata, probably for that nose. And so we've got semi-aquatic. And the 1 centimeter nose has 22 appendages. And it does have 25,000. sensory receptors. Wow, that's just amazing, isn't it? We can go in and we'll fix and refine our little details here. It's easy to just kind of go crazy. I can come back when this is completely dry, do another wash, darken, give it a little bit more definition. So you'll put darks in here and here, redefine his little legs there, and get some more detail. But that's just such a fabulous little guy, isn't it? I just love it. Now, those of you in the Northeast, you'll have to go looking for your star-nosed moles. I doubt they go underwater, so you might be able to see them. Didn't write whether they were nocturnal. It doesn't really matter since they don't really have functioning eyes. So interesting. We'll have to find that out. Okay, where are we going next? Let's see. Can briefly turn on so we can say hi. Where are we going? We are going down in the Florida, and this is the famous American alligator. And I learned there's also an American saltwater crocodile, but the American alligator, Alligator mississippiensis, is pretty much freshwater. And the only other alligator is in China. So I thought that was interesting. I learned a lot on that one. So they're huge, up to 15 feet, not as big as the salties, they're called, and certainly formidable predators. They're apex predators, and they actually are what's called ecosystem engineers. So they create wallow holes, and this helps establish and keep wetlands. And so really important animal in
Sort of like the beaver.
Exactly. Like except this one eats.
Doesn't, yeah.
This one is
A little bit more
significant predator.
aggressive.
That's funny. Oh my gosh. Okay. Whoops. Back up. Okay. Let's see. Where are we going to put our alligator? Let's see. Because he's so cool. So you can choose to draw either his face or the walking guy. I think I'm going to do the walking guy. So those of you who want to do the face, I think I can leave this up like this. And what am I going to do that? I think I'll make him smaller and stretch across here. And I won't be doing a ton of detail. But that way I can capture. Let me get my this set up so you can see. I'm having apparently. Let's see how it goes. Yeah, this is the bottom of the page here. Maybe I'll scoot that just a little bit. Here we go. That helps. Now, I want to make sure I leave room for him and that we get these shapes right. Now, one thing you want to, so here's my boundaries. Here and here. Holding my pencil up to the image, and if you were out in the wild and he were, walking across the road, apparently is what he's doing here, you can quick do a measurement, hold your thumb up, and I measured his tail is the same length as the body. So we want to make sure literally this point is the halfway point. So the whole body has to fit in here, and that's the tail. So shapes. Let's do an oval. And I'll be refining these. And then we've got this kind of pouchy circle thing. And then we've got, oops, I made that one a little weird. We've got a oblong-y thing, which I need to refine like that. And okay, so shape, we've got more of a belly going on here. Then I'm just wanting to capture this very lightly so I can make sure I get the. Okay, I think that proportion works, but you'll see I need to go a little bigger on the back there. Stay bumpy. Got the gular pouch kind of thing. Okay, now forgot to do the legs. Let's do shapes. You've got several shapes going here. That kind of a elbow here, here. That works. And then we've got a small, I can refine that. At the belly. That tail comes way down. And don't get hung up on trying to draw every single scale thing here. Just make a suggestion. And you can put some lines, just quickly scribe. Didn't quite get that shape right here. This comes out a little bit more. And you see I didn't get, the tail actually comes down a little bit more.
And since it's a bit hard to tell on the picture of the face, I wonder if folks have thoughts about the lower teeth. Do we think they're protruding sort of straight out?
There you go.
Ah, they are kind of, okay, a little bit of both. Thank you.
Look how widely spaced they are too.
Hmm.
They grip and rip. Not very refined, is it? Just incredibly efficient though.
Yeah.
All right, so I've got my guy down here. Let's get this eyes. That kind of now, whoa. And then notice how the jaw goes all the way back. I opted to go for a slightly, the smaller version here, so I don't have the luxury of a lot of detail. So you might want to do a great big one. I could have ran him down this way. Giving myself a little bit more space there. But that's all right, because I can still get my essence of a alligator here. It's interesting, the feet are not, huge. They don't need to support themselves on the land as much, right? So I think they don't walk a great deal. See, I changed it a little bit here. Okay. I think that what we can do here, I'll start writing my details and then I'll start painting in. Since this is at the bottom, I don't want to paint and then put my hand on it. So this is number 5. And it's the American alligator. I've only seen crocodiles, not alligators, interestingly.
How do you tell the difference?
Good question. I forgot to do that research and write down, besides where they live, habitat, what morphology is different. That's a good question.
Because I know, like in Australia, the alligators only go to the mouth of the river, like they from the river, like there's fresh water. They don't go, or is it the other way around? I don't know.
See, in Australia, the famous ones are called salties. They all are saltwater crocodiles.
Right, so they don't go up the fresh water.
Not very far, although I do understand they do if it's the tide comes up.
Yeah, but is that a determinator, do you think, between?
Definitely their habitat is, because there's an American saltwater crocodile. But morphology-wise, I suspect they've got some other differences, of course.
Shoots my theory, Alta.
The snouts are different. One is more rounded and one is pointed.
Yes, I believe the alligator is the more pointy.
According to Google, alligators have a U-shaped snout and crocodiles have a pointier V-shaped
The
snout.
opposite. Okay, let's write that down. Thank you.
Alligators prefer fresh and crocs prefer salt or brackish, or a combination.
Perfect. Okay, let's throw some color on this guy. I'm going to do just a very light wash of what I'll call a dirty yellow on the front. And I didn't give myself a ton of space.
As a side note, I believe that they have found skeletons of crocodiles here in the Southwest desert.
That's correct. In the, I don't know what eras they were here, but definitely are here. I'm not there right now. I'm in Alaska. Interesting. So I put a dirty yellow wash so that when I come back and add the dark, it will show through. So we get that crocodile variegated reptile look. And if you did it slightly bigger than I did, you can also go and just do some pattern with your pencil. Just make some checkerboard to approximate the scales. Don't go bonkers on it, but you just do a little bit, and that'll help show texture. But if you get too detailed, this isn't a scientific illustration, so you can too much detail will not be great for a quick sketch, because it just ends up messying it up. I think our hummingbird came out really well because I didn't go bonkers on the detail. Same with our little mole. Let it be a little more simple. So I got the essence of Mr. Alligator. So I'll come back, let that dry, do some darks, and how are we doing on time? So 5. Not bad. I think I'm getting more of a feel for how to do these quickly and not fuss over it too much. I did a practice, you'll see, I did practice these a little bit this morning just so I'd be fluent for you guys and not screw up too much. But here was my practice. I like it better. It's bigger, and so it gave me more space, right? So the more you sketch something, sketch alligators over and over, or hummingbirds. I've been doing a lot of hummingbirds. The more you do it, the more you get this language in your brain of hummingbird shapes, hummingbird proportions, or alligator proportions, and it becomes like a muscle memory. So just the more you sketch, the better you'll get. It's just absolutely true. So
I
that's
absolutely second that, because
Yeah.
I've started you with the trees, and I was so timid looking back at the first ones. Now I'm actually using color. Because I always did pencil, and I've got water brushes going. I've got, like, it's just the approach is the same. It doesn't really matter what you're doing. It's the approach.
exactly.
I totally agree with you. I'm a classic success story on this.
I'm so glad. It's fun. And it's great for me too. So I'm totally self-taught. And so all of this is somewhat new to me too. And the shapes thing really helps. Just don't think about what we're drawing, just draw the shapes. So here is our biggest challenge. This is a major shape coming up. And this critter lives in the American Southwest and northern Mexico. Actually, one of my favorite rattlesnakes. These are beautiful. This is the black-tailed rattlesnake. These are both of our picture, my husband's pictures, and they are beautiful. They have this, they do have black tails, but sometimes they're striped, sometimes they're not. Usually entirely black. And they have this beautiful mask that runs from the eye back, which can be very dark. Interestingly, they birth live young, which are precocial, meaning they start scooting about and feeding themselves right away. They're in Texas, Central Arizona, south to Oaxaca into Mexico. And every time they shed their skin, a news keratin segment is added to the rattle, and they can do that multiple times a year. So there's a myth that you count the rattle tells you how old they are in years, and that's not accurate. It's simply how many times they've shed. And here's a good one for you if you're timid about snakes. These guys can ascend trees and they can swim. So sorry about that if that makes you a little nervous, but let's draw this gorgeous one. Now, this is not an easy one because the shape, we need to focus on the shapes and not trying to first draw the snake, which means this is good. I have plenty of space here. What I do is first I'm going to do a this is that upper loop, and then very faintly, and then this is the lower loop. This is to give me a guideline. Very faint. Okay. Now I want to place the head. Then what I want to do is draw the empty space. Basically creating the shapes of the snake as I go. So what I'm going to do now is bring my shape down here. This is the curve that leads up to the head, which has there's this eye there, and then it comes back. He's got this actually skinny little thing going on here. The actual there is the skinny neck, but this comes in here. Then I'm going to carry this around. Did I get that? Yeah, I think that's good. And then this is there. I connected the shape. Probably not enough space here, but I'm going to leave it. I think that's fine. You see how I sort of created him using those negative spaces. Don't worry about right now all the scales and stuff. This is actually going to be better like that. Because I got that a little bit fat. I'm trying to give form here. And here's the kind of the peak of his body, which I want to maintain because that helps me get the look right. And here's his tail coming up, don't forget, because then we'll know it's a rattlesnake.
Is there a way to tell the difference between a female and a male?
Yes, but you have to get very up close and personal. You have to probe their cloaca. So not something for the faint of heart. And let's get that eye placement in here. Here's the other eye right there. And this comes down. You've got a large nose scowl. And here are the pits. These are called pit vipers. These are the sensory organs. Vertical pupil. And I want to get his beautiful kind of stripe. If you wanted to show, you could do a forked tongue if you want to show that's the mouth there. And we could do a few of the markings, but again, you don't have a lot of time here. Sorry about that. Let me darken it up a little. So you could draw some of the saddle pattern. But I want to go fairly quickly here because, again, this is quick sketch.
It almost looks, the pattern of the scales almost looks like Navajo rug up
Oh,
close.
doesn't it? Now there's an interesting thought. That's a good, I would write that down, that it reminds you of a Navajo rug. I like that.
It's entirely possible that they borrowed that pattern. I mean,
It is, isn't
they
it?
lived with nature and
Yep, and there are rattlesnakes up in Navajo country. So
makes sense.
I think we're getting good on this. It would be real tempting to try to do all the scales, right? But I think you would just bog down in that. You want to be careful not to do too much of that. So let's start labeling. Let's see, where am I? See why I wait. Sometimes I need to see where I'm going to put my label. These are medium-sized snakes, so he was probably they average like 30 inches. So say that would be about what he is. So about 30 inches average. And black tail scales. And one of the salient things here is that the venom is hemotoxic. Which destroys red blood cells. Okay, and I found it curious that they birth live young. And they can ascend trees. Don't want to call it climb. And swim. Oh, that's going to give some people nightmares. So you could, go in and show some, I don't know, you'd be so tempted to go in and try to add scales, and you'll be there all day though. So I think he's good. You see how I refined the shape a little bit. Don't forget when you do the eyes that he has a vertical pupils. I'm gonna throw some color in here. I'm gonna do a wash real quick of kind of a really pretty, the rusty color. Just just to kind of get that going. He's so pretty. Very, you don't want to be like super careful on these because they're very irregularly splotched. And the shapes are ever so slightly ringed with darker scales, just a little bit. So I could go in and refine that with pen. But let's get just a little, since this is a black-tailed rattlesnake, let's get his black tail filled in. Ooh, I'm just getting way too much water in my watercolor this morning. And the scales are really pretty. They've got they're kind of translucent, so I'll drop just a tiny bit of color like that to make it, try to make it look a little more like a translucent reflectivity. All right, but I think we're going to move on. I'll come in and refine him after, but he's pretty. Now, who do we have next, though? So many great critters. Where are we going? Aha, one of my favorite animals, period. This is the jaguar. And we have, if you didn't know, a northern population of jaguars. And this is their range along the Sierra Madre. And they do come up. There's a breeding population here, here, here. And there are males that are coming up into southern Arizona regularly for the last 25 years or so have been recorded. It is the largest cat in the Americas, the third largest in the world, big, like 6 feet long, including the tail, and actually not including the tail, and up to 350 pounds. They get really big, and all the way down into Argentina, and they are threatened by being shot, by being killed by ranchers, by illegal hunting, and just habitat loss, because they need a lot of habitat. They're powerful predators, and they kill their prey by biting through the brain case. Very powerful jaws, so they're big-headed. And unlike, so a leopard has dense closed rosettes, and jaguars have these open rosettes that are large and kind of dispersed, and then solid spots on other parts of the body. So you can choose to draw the whole guy. You can draw just the head. I think to save time, I'm going to do whoa, come on. There we go. I think I'm going to do the head and shoulders. And I need to adjust here. And that will let me focus a little bit more on getting a sketch done. So shape, pretty, look at it, it's a really round head. And then there's the shape of his lips, I'll call them. off the end of the snout. Okay, so we've got that. And then we've got fairly smallish ears for the size of the cat. So get those down. We've got a large nose. Okay, so you've got his lips and cheeks coming up. And then big eyes. Broad nose. It's got that kind of a tear stain thing going on. Big round eyes. Get this there. He's got his jaw open a bit. So you can see a little bit of his teeth. I don't think I'm going to be able to get that much detail, but one of these whisker marks, whisker dots, are common. These dots of whisker, dots where the whiskers come out. And then we've got, don't forget it's got that like tabby cat M almost. And the spots on the face and around their head are solid. He's got like grizzly jaw there. I've got too much detail on I need to erase that off or diminish it. Too much dark around that. His whisker marks. I got carried away with the whiskers. We're just going to come down here, and I like this collar marking. Notice he's very white. Okay, I get carried away on jaguar spots here, but you get the point. And gotta get some pupils in here. His eyes are hard to see. We want to fill in just a bit more. You don't want him to look like super like surprised. The flash filled in too much, so we're having to do our own representation here. Just carefully filling in. I don't want him to look like, he's like, but the pupils should be pretty much filling most of the eye socket. I think I'm going to get some color in here. And then one of the things I want to do is represent the, let's draw some rosettes, because I drew a part of him that didn't have the classic jaguar rosettes. And I think that will help. Now, the rosettes are unique to the cat. So this is how they tell them apart. So when they have these are recorded on trail cameras. Experts, I have friends who are really good at this. They do this for the conservation organizations. They study and find patterns in the rosettes, so that they can then recognize the individuals over time. So there was one that had like I believe had almost a Mickey Mouse shaped rosette that they knew for sure. I'm removing this because it bothers me. Because I just you can do too much detail, and that will end up kind of bombing your drawing. So let's get some salient details here on jaguars. So this is Panthera onca. Oh, I spelled that wrong. So, oh, that was an autocorrect. I have to correct that. Onca, onca. This isn't, these are the large cats. This is, Panthera is the same as the lion. They're roaring cats, where our mountain lion is not. And so largest cat in the Americas. Is up to 6 feet, 300 and let's say 350 pounds at largest. That's big. They are threatened. And they have oops, didn't quite get that in right. And then we'll say the rosettes are large and open. And so what I'm going to need here, I'm going to be running out of time, but I think the color will help refine his the drawing better. Because I don't want to go into tons of detail, but I want to put down a nice wash of, I'm going to call it a slightly dirty yellow. I'm making a yellow with bright yellow and then adding a touch of burnt sienna. And that's going to give me, I want to leave the whiteness around the chest here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just get it wet. And I want to remember to leave the white. Or light, I'll call it. And his cheeks, are these, I guess here, those are cheeks where the whiskers come out, are kind of pale white. So let that dry and come back because we need to move on. But that's a good start. And then we'll come back and finish Mr. Jaguar. Because we need to move on to our final. Oh, I forgot to say, this is number 7. I'm just writing that in. Okay. Who's next? Well, we're continuing down North America. This is a critter, one of my favorite critters in the Americas, called the coati or the coatimundi. So fun. I mean, these are the most adorable guys, aren't they? They are in the raccoon family, Procyanidea, and live in large troops, mostly the females and their relatives and young. So you'll see these pointy-tailed, adorable little climbing critters about the size of like a spaniel in large troops in the Southwest. They make little eepy noises, very cute, and their noses are very motile. So they use their noses to root around in leaves and things to look for insects and reptiles, and they'll eat anything. They climb really well. And interestingly, they go all the way down to the Panama border and down where the balsa tree grows. They are a primary pollinator of the balsa tree. It's a tube flower. Their long pointy nose is known to get into the flower. They drink the nectar. They don't destroy the flower, and then they get pollen on their nose and they pollinate the next flower. So I thought that was interesting. So let's draw a coati, which jaguars eat these guys. So this is definitely a food of the jaguar. Jaguars basically eat whatever they want. I'm going to put our guy here. Now, shapes, remember, okay, here's where his tail's going to be. Actually, I'm going to move it over here. This is why I do that. Tail there. The tail is way longer than the body, so I need to make sure I give plenty of room. I'm going to, I need a horizon here, a place to put him on. Shape. Okay, here's where his head's gonna go. Let me just do that, and then I just want to get a, I'm just doing a square right now because I want to make sure I've got the proportions right. There's this butt. Okay, yeah, that's going to come down. And the tail's going to come up. There. Yeah, I think we got that. So I'm comfortable penciling in that now. I can create his fuzzy butt there and come in here, and he's got, can't quite see it, but his legs are there. And then this guy, we're looking at the shape. He's kind of standing You see how I'm shaping in there his. These are just triangles. And then, yeah, I think I forgot the note actually his head is placed more here. He's got little ears. We're looking at his snout on, so you're not going to get that elongated nose. And then those cute rings, and eye placement's really important. And they do have that funny little quizzical look. So that's not incorrect. That funny little surprised look. That's how they look. And the head is small compared to the body. So let's get this, definitely got fuzzy pants here. This one's hard because it's got a weird aspect to how he's standing. Gonna have to use the paint to pull out the colors. One thing you want to emphasize, it's not showing up as well here. Go ahead and do it, is they have striped tails. I don't want to fill this in entirely because that's not really what he's doing. It's more a trick of the photography, I think. Got a weird thing going on here because of the way he's standing. This is where, when you're drawing from photos, I probably should have altered that a little bit. And now I see his head is too small. It's a little bit bigger than that. So I think I could have done a better job with the head there. But I could go in and do a larger blow up of the head to get better better detail, or do the side view of a snout. That would help too. So I think that was, in retrospect, we need to know what's here to get that right. And I don't have like a Kawadi pattern in my head. This is the first time I've drawn one. I did not practice on this guy. So I need to keep drawing Kawadis to get this right. So they're so cute though. So let's do number 8. It's either Kawati or Kawatimundi. And sometimes called the white-lipped Kawati. And it's Nasua Naraka. And procyonids are, the family is like raccoons, ringtails. And they're about, so 8 to 13 pounds, so not big. About 3 feet long, mostly tail. And omnivorous. And a known pollinator. Of the balsa tree. And I'll just give him a little bit of, again, there's a lot of that kind of dirty brown, I won't say dirty, but yellowy brown color on our animals today. There's just nothing cuter when these guys come tromping down a canyon. You can hear them eeping to each other. They're very social, very cute. Be careful not to fill in too much of the face. And then I can try to fix the weird aspect. Not sure how I could do that, but I'll let that dry, which will lighten and then enhance with some other colors. Our little coati. All right, so what I think that pretty much takes us, to our 8th in the second around the world in 80 animals. That was fun and challenging. I think the coati was the hardest weird aspect, and I hope you will keep working on these, and we will have our next one in February. I'm not sure when yet. We're going to be on the move quite a bit, but remember, I do record, I put these up on the website, so you'll have plenty of time to go back and refine. I'm going to do that. I'll spend today finishing up mine, adding a map. I would suggest adding a map, and I hope you'll send them to me. I'll put them on the website. If you really enjoyed this and you're enjoying it, I always appreciate the tip jar at exploringoverland.com tip jar. And I'll put that in the chat. Let me switch off the view so I can see you guys. Anyone want to hold up their drawings? I'm going to switch to gallery view. Anyone want to hold up what they've got? Use the raise hand. Oh, there we go, Betty. I've got Betty. So I'm going to spotlight Betty.
I cannot start my video. It says that you have blocked me.
Oh, okay. Who's speaking?
This is Mary Hendricks.
Okay. Can you put your raise hand feature on? We'll grab you. Perfect.
But-
Okay. Betty, nice. Oh, good job on the coati. You did a better job than I did. Yay. They're
I'm going to
hard.
go back later and fill in information on all the different animals because I
Yeah.
got them in there, but I didn't get, I didn't get information. So,
Nice. Nice job. Oh, good job on the shapes and everything. Really nice. And that's the main thing. I thought the snake was really hard, right? So,
yes, it
good
was
job.
hard. Or it was hard.
Yeah. Good
So-
job. Oh, love them. Love them. It's really fun to go back and add the natural history information.
Yeah.
So you learn a lot.
And I didn't get the condor because I came in a little bit late, but
Oh.
I'll get the condor in there.
They're fun to do. All right. Thank you, Betty. Nice job.
Thank you. I enjoyed that. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Let's see. Valerie. Okay, Valerie, you're up.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, different Valerie. Oh, okay. This is okay.
Valerie Hayes, you're it.
Okay. Yeah, so I definitely should use less wet washes when doing rapid sketchbook drawings
Yeah, it's hard.
because I was having to prop the
Yeah, but
pages
whenever-
slightly to let them dry. Like
Nice.
those guys.
Oh, you got far on the monarch. Well done.
Well, I have my secret weapon, which is my Fude pen. So I was going directly in ink, and I can do wide lines and narrow lines with it.
Nice.
So
Very
my iPad with the low power. There's
Oh, I love your quick watercolor is fab.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it.
these guys. I'm not Jaguar. I had a bit of a struggle with. Even
Very
though
hard.
for some reason today is just not a good day for me to do cats.
But four-legged critters are hard, and cats are hard.
I got really hung up on the face, and I
Yeah.
didn't get to the.
Oh, I think it looks really good though. And look, you got
I'm
the-
out.
I like the way you refined the coati. Nice job. Thank
Yeah, but Fude pens are awesome.
Yeah, you were absolutely right on that. Thank you. Okay, let's see. Jennifer J, are you ready? Let me spotlight you. Ooh, oh, I love how you put them all on one. Oh, look at that. How fun is that?
Really nice.
Well done. Nice. Oh, I like this. See how everybody has a different way of doing it, like layering or one per page. I just love it. Nice one. Ah, well done. Good quick sketching. Nicely done. Thank you for sharing that. How
Yeah.
fun. Sweet. Okay, Mary Zahner, you are up next. Let's see. Spotlight you.
Okay. I think I unmuted myself. I don't know.
Yes, you did.
Okay. Let's see, where are we? Where's my condo?
Great. Oh, I like good direct watercolor. Love it. Yep.
We actually saw one of them in Arizona years ago, so that was very exciting.
Yeah, and great.
Monarchs are hard. I used the Fude pen also, very handy.
Nice. I might have to switch to that. Oh, love it. Nicely done. Great shapes. You're very confident in your shapes. It's wonderful.
I've been drawing lots of hummingbirds.
Good job. Oh.
I'm not drawing lots of reptiles.
Yep, they're hard. These are all different things to practice, and getting the shapes is hard. And
Also
you
got
tackled spots on the Jaguar. Well done.
Got kind of a stretchy Jaguar, but the
Yeah,
Fude pen was handy for that too. And I love the coatis.
Aren't they adorable?
We had a troop of them on our deck of our lodge in Ecuador, and they will follow a laser pointer like a cat will.
Yeah. They're very curious, gregarious little guys. So
cute.
love it. Oh, well done. Nice. Okay. And let's see, Christina, sorry. Let me spotlight you.
Okay.
Ah, well done. Look at the beautiful colors and proportions. These are great. Love it. Everyone's doing so great on their animals and shapes.
And I placed this one.
Let's say again.
I placed this one on horizontally, but then it didn't turn out as long as I thought it would.
That I think they're wrong. I think it turned out great. It's totally.
Yeah, I was thinking it would fill the whole page, but it didn't.
Yeah, that when you're quick sketching, it's really hard to think ahead and plan for proportions and everything. So you did great. Oh, great shapes on the rattlesnake. Well done.
And is this mirrored for some? I don't know. Yeah,
it might be. Sometimes they do, mirror, but your writing is showing. So
yeah, okay.
It looks great. Love it. And Mr. Kawadi, well done. Everyone's really capturing the Kawadi well. Love it. Thank you. And let's see. Julie Pickard.
Yeah. Okay. Hi.
Hello.
Okay. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. So I've just done in pencil.
Nice. Great
And
job on the vulture or the condor. Good spread on that. Ooh, nice big butterfly. That's great.
oh, it's really hard. I'm not quite sure how to get this.
It's
that
because you have the
there we go.
background blurred. You have to hold it exactly in the plane of the camera where,
Yeah.
you
think
can't
that's
move
good.
it.
Yeah.
That's great.
Okay.
Nice detail.
And
Wow, I love how you did one per page on that. There you go.
yeah.
Nice. Good proportions. Everyone's looking really comfortable on proportions.
This creature is just incredible. I'm
Isn't
going to
that
go back and
amazing?
do this some more. Oh,
Yeah,
there we go.
Everybody just keep drawing the same thing over and over. That's what really will get you comfortable. Nice snake.
There we go. And the other two, yeah, here's this one. I'll show you this one. And the jaguar, I got distracted by something I had to attend to here. Oh, I can't. Oh, there we go.
There
we go.
Nice.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. This was
Thank you.
fantastic.
Well done, everyone. Well, that was fun, everybody. And thank you very much for sharing, and send me your pages when you're done, and I'll put them on the website. And we've also got the forum if you want to share things there too. And like I said, we'll have the next one in February, probably a little later, and it will be fun. We're going to keep going down the spine of the continent, so we'll be doing South America. So see what kind of interesting critters we can find there. So well done, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Stay warm. You guys most of you are colder than I am up here in Alaska.
Thank you.
All right, and I'll put the tip jar address here in the chat. Thank you very much.
Yes.
So much fun. Great. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Keep drawing.
Thank you, Roseanne.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you very much.